Confronted my girlfriend's pushy friend over inappropriate behavior at a party. Now I'm expected to apologize for standing my ground. My girlfriend is bisexual and primarily dated women before we met. We're getting serious and talking about getting married. We've dated for over 2 years. But recently she's been making a lot of polygamous jokes and I'm not really into it. She has this friend that I get the feeling is just waiting for a hiccup in our relationship to make a move. She's bi and openly makes jokes about being sexual with my girlfriend. I've shared that I don't like it before, but she jokes that I'm gay for not being into it. Maybe I could be into an experience, but honestly, this person just makes me uncomfortable too often. Besides that, she's just not my type sexually. We had a long conversation around COVID about she wanted to be referred to he/him, so I did. 2 years later he wanted to be referred to as they/them, so I did. Recently she's circled around back to she/her, which is fine. But the whole time she dresses like a Kyle. For those of you that are unfamiliar, a Kyle is a kind of guy that wears Fox apparel, washes down vape with a Monster Energy drink. She would be attractive, but it's like her idea of masculinity was formed from high school douchebags, not 30-year-old men. Anyway, Saturday we got into a fight because we had some friends over. Kyle was the last one to leave. We'd all been drinking. I was in the kitchen putting away some food and I see this asshole put his hand on my GF's ass. I let her know right away, that's the line, you crossed it, stop. My girlfriend gives her classic that's just how girls joke and goes. They did this silly little dance twirl thing that ended my GF on Kyle's lap. I'd had enough and stepped into the room. My GF doubled down and said that most guys would be dying to fool around with 2 women. I was blunt and said that I was uninterested in sharing her with anyone. Kyle then said something like maybe I could strap one on, maybe you'd prefer a man. I was drunk, this asshole had his hand on my GF's waist, and my GF on her lap. I lost it. I don't remember what I said exactly, something like if you were a man you would have been kicked out or knocked out already. This struck some kind of chord with her, she postured up like a gorilla and it was a 3-way shouting match. I don't know what was said exactly. But it ended with Kyle loudly proclaiming that she had to leave before someone got hurt. Here's the problem, my GF somehow thinks that I need to apologize. Me, for threatening a person who came into my home, grabbed my girlfriend's ass, sat her down on her lap, and insinuated that I'd like to be ass fucked by a man. She says that I needlessly introduced violence, and forced Kyle to drive home intoxicated. I honestly can't fathom an apology, and I honestly don't care to have Kyle in our life anymore. I'm not typically the one to die on a hill, but I feel like anything short of digging my heels in is unacceptable. I told her I'd think about it, she's staying at a cousin's house for a few days. If it was just one night, I'd get it, but it's been several. Saturday was just the tipping point. But honestly, she acts like this something she can get out of her system. I think she wants to be bi, and I think a lot of her friends are doing the poly thing. It's just not for me. I want one partnership with one person. All of her poly friends are in relationships but they come and go, there's nothing concrete there. She claims to want kids, she claims to want commitment. But her actions say otherwise. I've shared that I don't like it before, but she jokes that I'm gay for not being into it. Oop, that's what I'm saying, but they've been friends longer than I've been together with her. She writes it off as, that's just a long-running joke. Replying to a deleted comment, oop, what blows, is that in almost every other way. We click. Similar interest, similar political beliefs, similar morals, we're both career-driven and stable. Our sex life is also very good, we both pay attention to each other's needs, but her poly friends have her believing she can be a stay-at-home mom and sleep around when she feels like it. Update 1. I'm just going to go off the bullet points of the conversation, because I'm over it. She arrived yesterday with a peace offering from our favorite ice cream shop and wanted to set things aside so we could settle down and catch up on the new episode of Hot. I told her that I was uncomfortable just eating ice cream and watching TV with the elephant in the room. I think that she could sense that I was in a different mood than she expected. The talking points were as follows. I mentioned that I felt no need to apologize, and referenced that Kyle had never apologized for disrespecting me in my home on other occasions. And THST, the average person would display hostility towards someone who acted the way Kyle acted. Her response was that she felt it was a first-time offense and that she had no idea I felt so strongly towards the jokes in the past. I cut her off and told her that she wasn't listening to me if that was how she felt. She stated that I introduced violence, and that's what I should be apologizing for. I stood my ground and said that any person who touches another person's spouse sexually in front of them, without their consent, should understand that they're going to provoke a reaction. Given that I actually have boxing experience, I showed restraint. She made this weird point that, because I have boxing experience, I should somehow be more careful about provoking violent situations because I know that a fight between Kyle and I is a mismatch. Which I easily countered with the fact that I didn't provoke the situation, Kyle did, and my girlfriend, not seeing that as a problem, she mentioned that it was reckless for me to kick out an intoxicated guest. I easily retorted with Uber fucking exists. There's no reason to drunk drive in 2024. If she dies in DUI, it's because she was too cheap/stupid to pay the $15 to get a ride there. I'd looked it up yesterday. Her stupidity is not my responsibility. I asked her if she'd slept with Kyle in the past. She said no. Maybe I'm biased and not to be trusted, but I believe her. I told her that it makes me super uncomfortable that she keeps pressuring me into having sex with someone I'm unattracted to. This is compounded by the fact that I've had to jump through hoops to make sure that Kyle was comfortable with her sexuality over the years. This is the curveball I didn't expect. She claimed that Kyle actually likes me for that reason. That Kyle shows her affection like a schoolyard idiot. That Kyle feels comfortable with the both of us. My girlfriend feels comfortable with Kyle, so their intention was to gauge my comfort level and proceed. Obviously I brought up that I wasn't sexually attracted to Kyle in any way. And that she hadn't helped her cause by treating me the way she has that night or the nights prior. My girlfriend reinstated that she was unaware that my feelings before were as strong as they are because I didn't display emphasis or something. Essentially she thought I shrugged it off in good humor. I stated that I'd like to start talking about what a breakup looks like. She was obviously so far from the idea that we were talking about a breakup. Immediate waterworks, immediately incoherent, and apologetic, I brought up that I'm unsure if she actually believes in our shared goals of marriage, parenthood, and monogamy. She was in hysterics but essentially couldn't believe that I would come to that conclusion based off one night. I reminded her that it was a pattern of behavior. Not one night. She then backpedaled and said that her polygamous behavior was a part of her life she wanted to share with me before we were married. And she believed that she was presenting it in a way that she thought would be appealing to me. I think she thinks I have porn brain. But I reminded her that I'd showed a lack of interest before, and that in my opinion this wasn't the first time she'd pitched fooling around with Kyle. She circled back to insisting the other times were jokes. I told her that if she believes that, she either wasn't listening to me or not taking me seriously. I brought up that it wasn't okay that they called me gay because I didn't want to engage with their ideas. I brought up the hypocritical nature of her friend group being so inclusive, but making fun of my sexuality when I didn't want to participate in their games. She was hyper-apologetic, and didn't understand that it was a problem until I framed it in had the shoe been on the other foot, it would never be acceptable. What do you all think? Stay or nay? Update 2. I, male 30, broke up with my girlfriend, F31, and now she won't move out till the school year starts. Do any of you have experience evicting MX? It's been a rough couple of weeks, but I did it. I broke up with my girlfriend after she tried to throuple me with her friend. Initially she was happy to move into her cousin's house, but there's been some drama because the story she tells her friends and family leaves out key components. Some of them reached out angrily to me. When I set them straight they then gave my ex an earful. Now she's mad at me for disclosing sensitive information. I'm guessing that her cousin isn't allowing her back because she doesn't agree with her decisions. I don't know for sure because we're not in contact. I only know what my ex says and she's unreliable. She's become hot and cold, either bitter and cold shoulder, or bringing up reconciling and coming on to me. I've made a point to resist her advances. She's been trying to guilt me. A few months ago she made the decision to go after her master's degree. She was supposed to be starting very soon, but now I've compromised her living situation. She's upset that rent everywhere else is double what she contributes here. I tell her that it's no longer my problem. I guess she has a subscription service that is delivered here. She produced that last night when I told her I needed her completely out by the 15th. Now she's saying she has a right to be here. Does anyone have experience evicting an ex? Update 3. A woman that I have been seeing has an OnlyFans of. Can a relationship realistically be salvaged? I got out of a nasty breakup a little under a year ago. I avoided the dating sites but ended up meeting this lady through mutual friends. She ticks off all the boxes. She seems very kind. She's stable financially and emotionally. She's very funny, we have great chemistry, and the physical relationship is great. But, like 15% of her income comes from a small of account. Which is fine. Her content supposedly is just photos of her solo work. Now she's talking about becoming exclusive. I'm only realistically talking to one other person, and that relationship hasn't become physical yet. But I'm ready for marriage, kids, I want to settle down. And in my opinion, a woman with an IV isn't looking to settle down. She disagrees. We got into a big argument over it. What she heard was "you're not wife material." Which isn't entirely true. She totally is, without the IV account. She has a good job, her account is small enough that it wouldn't affect her finances too much. Especially if we moved in sometime within the next 2 years. I made my boundary clear, but she keeps calling, texting, insisting that I'm the only guy that she's seeing. I know IV isn't prostitution, but it is sex work. Plus, her account brings in less than a part-time job at McDonald's. I feel like it's not unreasonable to have a problem with strangers looking at sexual photos of a person you want to pursue a serious relationship with. Have any of you made a relationship work with a sex worker? First off, massive thanks for the advice, validation, tough love, and the couple people who DM'd me horror stories about exes living on their couches. Seriously, y'all should write books. A lot has happened. This honestly feels like a fever dream at this point, but I'll do my best to capture the whiplash. So to answer the legal stuff, after calling around, 3 lawyers, 1 very unhelpful landlord, and Reddit, thank you, /legal advice, it turns out in my city, if someone's been receiving mail and living there for over 30 days, you have to do an official eviction even if there's no lease between you. I served her the proper notice, thank you internet printables. It was awkward as hell but, pro tip, don't waffle on boundaries. She tried guilt trips, "You're ruining my life before grad school," then threats, "You'll regret telling my cousin," then switched to "Let's just try again, you know you miss me." I told her as gently but firmly as I could, "I'm not doing the emotional yo-yo or the throuple talks, you need to move out." It got tense. More on that below. So overnight, my house felt like a Cold War bunker. She started using weird passive-aggressive tactics, leaving all the bathroom shelves empty except for her one deodorant stick, washing half the dishes and leaving the other half for me, vacuuming while I was on work calls. Mostly, I just tried to avoid her and counted down the days. Then, the real kicker, at about 10 p.m. one night, literally the day after the notice was served, who do I hear out front but Kyle? She strolled in, wearing a Monster Energy hat and a Patagonia puffer, cranked the TV, and the two of them started cackling in my living room. I was honestly just amused at this point, felt like I was being tested. About half an hour later, I poked my head out and Kyle made a big show of ignoring me. Then she starts up with, "He's just mad he can't hack real poly life. You'd be lucky to have two chicks at once." This time her jokes felt more mean than flirty, and my ex didn't even really laugh, just kind of cringed, so I calmly said, louder than I meant, "Kyle, let's not start tonight. You and ex are welcome too. Whatever, just leave me out of it, I've got work." Then the wildest thing happened. Kyle, for once, got quiet. She said, "He's got a point. This feels off." I thought she was baiting me, but she actually suggested to my ex that she start getting her own stuff together and let the man live. Apparently, living at your ex's house is low even on Kyle's chaos meter, who knew? She left and my ex just sat there, then stormed out on a walk. After that, the situation weirdly chilled out. She actually started packing her stuff up, stopped trying to start up drunken heart-to-hearts, and even apologized, in a roundabout way, for bringing drama into our lives. Don't worry, she's still not happy with me, but peace has returned. She moved out yesterday. Meanwhile, because apparently the universe doesn't want to give me a breather, things with Sophia, let's call her that, the woman with the Ev account, took a turn. She came over and wanted to talk out the whole "can a sex worker be wife material" thing. Pro tip, don't phrase it that way IRL, she laid out, with receipts, the deal. Her account is super small, she doesn't do sexting or meetups, she started it post-divorce as an empowerment thing, and the plan is to shut it down within the year regardless of me. She said, "I get it if that's not something you want from a partner, it's not just a kink, it's my livelihood, but I won't be shamed for it. I want someone who can have the conversation." Honestly? The conviction kind of floored me. So I shut up and listened. We agreed to take a week, no dating, no talking, to think over what we both want. No pressure, no guilt. I'm actually respecting the hell out of her for standing up for herself. If you made it this far, you'll appreciate this curveball. A week ago, one of my former ex's poly/queer friends reached out to me privately. She wanted to apologize. Apparently, a lot of them thought I was the classic mono bro prude at first, but after hearing both sides, and talking to my ex after the move out, at least a few of them admitted Kyle's behavior was out of bounds, and that I handled it better than some poly dudes could have. She wanted to know if I'd give polyamory a chance. No thanks, but cool of her. Peace and cleanliness have returned to my apartment. My ex is officially out, her keys are on the counter. I'm taking a real breather from negotiations, code switching, or being talked into things that aren't my vibe. Sophia and I will regroup next week. I honestly don't know where I land, but I have more respect for her openness than most exes I've had. Kyle dropped off my ex's last box yesterday. She handed me a monster for old time's sake, then said, "You're not so bad, man." Too vanilla for me though. Then she looked at the box and deadpanned, "There's no sex toys in there." You're welcome. Reddit, that's where it stands right now. For maybe the first time in 2 years, I don't dread walking in my front door. I'm not swearing off relationships forever, or even sex workers, if we keep the communication honest. I've figured out that my boundaries are not up for negotiation, not by jokes, guilt trips, or peer pressure. Update 4. First off, thanks for all your support, including the DMs, the spicy memes, the unsolicited legal advice about squatters' rights, 3 marriage proposals, I own neither Monster nor vape, call me, and absolutely no thanks to the person who sent me a custom Monster Energy OnlyFans crossover t-shirt, which is, horrifyingly, kind of fire. I thought the saga was over after my ex moved out, Sophia and I agreed to mutually respect each other's boundaries, and Kyle dropped off the world's clunkiest attempt at closure. There's no sex toys in there. You're welcome. But apparently, my life is now a reality show I didn't sign up for. Strap in. Let's start with Sophia. I took that week-long breather. It was absolute bliss. No 1 a.m. we need to talk texts. No, so have you considered letting me add my best friend to the relationship convos? Just gym, work, sleep, and the luxury of not dodging emotional landmines before my morning coffee. Sophia and I met up at a local park, public place, no drama. We sat on a bench, and she without irony brought me a monster. Thought you might have withdrawal, she winked, then she pulled out her phone to show me exactly what her looked like, mostly cute boudoir poses, a few artsy topless shots, nothing remotely pornographic. She, very seriously, explained why she'd started it post-divorce, reclaiming confidence, paying off a random vet bill, and feeling like she controlled the narrative after a rotten marriage. We had a damn real conversation. I told her that her account didn't gross me out or offend me. What got to me was how the last 2 years of my ex pushing boundaries had made me hypersensitive to unorthodox relationship stuff. I said I couldn't be with someone who needed that particular attention from the world, if it was always going to make me feel like bystander in my own relationship. This is where Sophia floored me. She said, "I honestly get that. But I want you to know, in this relationship you'd be the point guard, not some guy riding the bench." Slam dunk. Honestly, she told me she was planning to delete the account at the end of the year regardless. She thought it was best for her future, not just for us, and not out of shame or pressure. She just felt done. Reader, the honesty reassured me. We agreed to take things slow. Date for real, minus the ambiguity, not just as rebounders hiding behind boundaries. She even called me out. "Promise me if this feels off again, you'll just say so. Don't do the emotional mileage you did before." Message received. Meanwhile, remember Kyle? 2 days after my ex moves out, Kyle texts me. "Just yo," at 2 a.m. I ignore it. The next day, she posts a photo on IG of a moving truck. Turns out, she's leaving the city, new lease on life, moving to Denver to work as a brand ambassador for a certain energy drink. I am not making this up. She tags me with no hard feelings, Vanilla King. I wish I was making that up, but wait, there's more. My upstairs neighbor, a drama magnet in her own right, texts me a video taken through our shared wall. Apparently, the night before my ex left, she and Kyle hosted an impromptu goodbye party. Now, I thought things had chilled out, but according to this neighbor, I was spoken of extensively. He was the only straight guy I know who actually listens when someone tells him to stop. That's rare. Yeah, but men who don't want a throuple are sus. Shut up, Kyle, he paid your Uber twice. True. I'd fight for his right to be boring. I honestly laughed so hard I almost choked on my leftover curry. The fallout with my ex post move out, she texted, "Sorry I made things so complicated. I don't blame you for not wanting the chaos. I hope grad school is less of a soap opera." I resisted saying, "It can only go up from here." She asked if we could maybe be friends someday. I don't hate her, but I told her honestly, I need a real, hard reset. Maybe after some time. She responded with a meme of a burning dumpster full of Monster cans. Closure, 2024 style. One last, absurd, twist. Remember how I thought her cousin blamed me for everything? Turns out, not so. Apparently my ex spun a wildly generous version of events at first. After the cousin heard both sides, thanks in part to the group chat being set straight, she messaged me out of the blue apologizing for the drama, and asked me to house sit for her new tarantula while she's in Tulum next month. Okay? Then, last night, I get invited by a mutual friend to trivia at a new bar. Guess who's there? Most of my ex's old friend group, including the friend who DM'd me to apologize about the poly insults. In the spirit of moving forward, I joined them for a round. Suffice to say, there were approximately 0 jokes about my masculinity. One of them actually bought me a Guinness and toasted to boundaries. Times change, so where am I now? Sophia and I are seeing where things go. No pressure, all honesty, all actual communication. My apartment has never been this clean and this peaceful. My neighbors have apologized for eavesdropping but are secretly disappointed the drama died down. Kyle is in another state parking her truck outside Red Rocks, reportedly working for a beverage company. My ex is off to grad school and has ceased all 2 a.m. emotional drive-bys. And me? I'm reading books again. I signed up for a language class. I might actually try therapy, per suggestion of a few of you and, weirdly, Kyle. Most importantly, I finally enjoy coming home. No drama, no code switching, just peace and actual, boring, glorious normalcy. If you get nothing else from this saga, set your boundaries. And don't trust anyone who makes Kyle their muse. TLDR, throuple drama is out, monster energy is gone, my ex moved out, Sophia and I are trying it honestly, and I finally have my own life, and couch, back. Update 5. First off, a big, heartfelt, thanks to everyone who's kept me laughing, reflecting, and not losing my mind through what's become an unexpected choose-your-own-adventure in boundary setting. If you told me a year ago I'd be on Reddit discussing how to evict an ex, escape throuple purgatory, and debate the philosophy of OnlyFans with virtual strangers, and Kyle, I'd have told you to put down the monster. Well, the universe had one more plot twist in store. Or, as a friend put it, maybe your real polycule was the chaos you unleashed along the way, Sophia, and the Boundary Summit things with Sophia have been good, almost too normal, which, after my last relationship, was like stepping onto new land and realizing the ground is actually solid. We talked openly, I met 2 of her friends, normal people. One with strong opinions on oat milk, not relationship hierarchies, and we even did a double date game night at my place. I have to admit, a part of me was low-key bracing for Sophia to spring some left-field test. What if my ex-husband's guinea pig moves in? But nope. Just a fun, flirtatious time, real talk, and nobody on my furniture without permission. 3 weeks ago, Sophia closed her of account. She screenshotted the deactivation message, said it felt right, and, get this, she brought over cupcakes to celebrate. No drama, no tears. It was part of my life, now it's not. I still want this with you, but if you ever feel weird, promise you'll just say? I realize this is the first time I've actually felt like a relationship is ours, and not a committee negotiation. Kyle returns from the wild, briefly, so. Last Thursday night, my phone buzzes. Hey, going to be back in town tomorrow for 24 hours. Monsters flying me out for some event. Wanna grab a drink? Tempting fate, but, curiosity self-preservation. I said yes. We met at a local dive, and Kyle was, if not changed, then at least slightly less likely to rile up a crowd for fun. She admitted Denver is way too chill, the local Kyles try too hard, and she's getting old for the meme. She actually apologized, directly, for disrespecting my boundaries last year. I thought you were a basic dude who'd get off on chaos. Sorry for being that guy. She also confided that my ex's move out was the drama point her whole friend group needed to grow up. Read, only one person in the friend group is still inviting people to orgies, and it's not even me anymore. Then, the bombshell. Your ex? She started dating a guy. Super chill, works remote, has a dog, normal type. Sounds mono as hell. She texted me last week, I finally get why, original poster, was so over the chaos. Says she's turning over a new leaf. Went to therapy, even. I swear, if real closure was packaged, it would come with one of Kyle's trademark sideways grins. She fist bumped me and handed me a monster, and then she was gone, off to some influencer event, probably never to cross paths again, fingers crossed. The ex, one final message, life being what it is. The next morning I woke up to a long email from my ex. I genuinely hesitated opening it for an hour. The key bits: she hopes I'm well, classic opener, she apologized again, now in depth, therapy's helped her realize how her jokes and pressure tactics weren't just unfunny, but crossing boundaries. She disclosed that she's been honest with her new guy about wanting a monogamous, stable life. She even thanked me, saying you were my wake-up call that I wasn't really being honest with myself or anyone else. No, she did not ask to get back together, or even be friends. Just wanted to clear the air. Honestly, it felt like someone finally closed the tab on a browser I'd forgotten was slowing down my life. New beginnings, and an unexpected invitation. Here's where things get weird, in a good way. Remember Sophia's game night? Her friend, Sam, turns out is a therapist, who moonlights as a trivia host at the infamous bar where my ex's group still holds court. I got invited to trivia night, expecting mild awkwardness. Instead, I show up and the old group has totally shifted vibes. Gone are the snide poly jokes, replaced by real questions about how do you actually set boundaries? A couple folks even admitted to reading this thread, confessed they'd been assholes out of peer pressure, and thanked me for giving a blueprint for standing up for what you want in a relationship. They even made a rule, no more just jokes about people's sexuality or preferences. I was honestly touched, and a bit stunned. The cherry on top? I won third place at trivia, named 3 countries with a red, white, and blue flag. Eat it, Kyle. They insisted on buying me a drink. No monster in sight. Me, back to real life with the ex saga over. Sophia and I are planning a mini trip, her idea, someplace with weak cell service and zero drama. My apartment is officially mine. No boxes, no surprise guests, no one changing the Wi-Fi password because I need to be more present. Just me, Sophia, and the peace that comes from surviving a full season of extreme relationship makeover, polydrama edition. What have I learned? Say your boundaries. Say them twice. Say them even if people laugh. Honest communication isn't just a motto for dating apps, it's the difference between a peaceful home and a 3-ring circus. If you think you're settled, triple check. Chaos has a way of sending you one last email, monster in tow. TL, DR, Sophia's Avera is over, my ex is finding her peace. Kyle apologized and rode off into the sunset, and for the first time in years, I wake up without dread or drama. Turns out, vanilla doesn't mean boring, it means undisturbed joy and freedom.